a 4,000 square foot expansion of the current station, which would go to westwardly towards Wellington Road, and includes an additional cell, interview room, dry evidence room, training room, sergeants and officers designated work area, break room, locker facilities for both females and males with bathrooms and showers, and an interior staircase. Exterior parking for 2 vehicles that is covered, a new parking area in front of the station for handicap and visitor parking. The estimated cost for the project is $975,000. We did the best we could to get this project under $1 million. Over my 20 years here, I have learned 2 things. The town of Templeton does not like overrides, and if you can get it as cheap as possible, do it. Funding source would be a 2-year debt exclusion. That's another thing I learned. Templeton residents like debt exclusions because there is a light at the end of the tunnel. You're not bound by an override. Proposed years of the debt exclusion would be FY 17 and 18, and the increase to the tax rate for those 2 years would be approximately 93 cents. The station would come off the tax rate as the proposed new school would come on the tax rate. Here is our current station as it currently sits. The handicap ramp right there is falling apart. I hate to say it. You can see that we're missing one of our shutters right there. It used to be a welfare office. The best part of the welfare office when we moved in was the vault. Here we have the interior view of the station with the break room. I have to point out that that closet right there is the break room. That is our main area. You'll see the stainless steel pipe right there. That is where we currently handcuff prisoners when we have them. Here's the men's bathroom. You can see the water damage. The water damage to the top of the door, the tiles, tile missing. That is the current locker room. That room is approximately 8 feet by 12 feet. There are 10 full-time officers and 10 part-time officers that have to go into this locker room. There is no bathroom, there is no shower downstairs, so if an officer becomes exposed to blood or other hazardous materials, that officer has to bring that home to his house, to his family, and that's not acceptable. This is the downstairs storage area. As you can see, it is quite packed. Here is the downstairs training and sergeant's room. There's a lot of elbow room here. Now, this is the conceptual outside view of the building. New England style with the cupola. Nothing extravagant. It fits right into the center. Here's the front and side view of the building. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Are there any questions or further discussion? Go ahead. Name and address, please. Oh. Can't hear you.
Mike's not
I
on.
can't hear.
There you go.
Can't find it.
It's on now. Need to go closer to the mic. No, it's not on.
No, it was on.
We go to mic 2.
Hello. Tom Jelinowski, 357 South Main Street. The police station, I've been in a few times, not as a prisoner. That place is really a pit, and I think our police department deserves a better environment than what they've got over there. This is a small town, and the police officers know most of the people, and I think they treat us right. And the only request I have, Chief, is when you're out on a road detail, please ask the officers to stop looking down in the pit or up in the trees and pay attention to the traffic. Thank you.
So noted, sir. Thank you.
Hi, George Barnes, 23 Wellington Road. First of all, I'm glad to see the chief isn't planning on taking any of our houses for eminent domain. Secondly, when I talked to the chief about the station quite a while back, I said, you should just go for a full-size station because you guys need it. And he said, no, he wanted to do it in a way that the taxpayers could afford. And he's done that, and it looks great, and I hope he gets it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Dan Dean, 384 South State Road. Most of you know me, most of you don't know me. Some of you don't know me. I've been in public safety for almost 20 years now. A majority of that here in town. I was one of the former dispatchers here in town as well. Now I'm on the fire department. These guys, I can't say enough, these guys really need the station. Dispatch is separated by the prisoners by one glass sliding door that has a finger lock. That's it. No holding cells. These guys have to drive out of town to have these prisoners hold either by SP or Gardner PD, and Chief, correct me, is there a cost with that still?
Yes, there is. With Gardner PD, if we have a prisoner go over there, an officer has to babysit that prisoner at overtime. So if he gets locked up on a Friday afternoon after court closes and there's a holiday on Monday, you can just imagine what that costs. Also, we've gone as far as Millbury to transport a prisoner hold overnight because we can't house him anywhere else.
So that alone, we definitely need we need this addition. We need these holding cells. Speaking at a public safety standpoint, the guys being exposed to the same stuff I get exposed, I don't wear my uniforms home. Okay? I have a shower. I'm fortunate enough to have a shower at the station to where if I'm exposed to something, it's cleaned and, I'm not bringing that stuff home to my family. Neither should these guys, these officers. They risk their lives for us. We should back them and keep their lives safe too. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Madam Moderator, Bob Whalen, 35 South Road, direct abutter to Mr. Bennett's business. I also am very pleased to learn that they're not planning on eminent domain. And I agree. The police station, as Tom said, is a pit. I have a very good view, especially of the outside, but the inside, I've been in there a few times. It's a disaster, and it really needs upgrading, and I'm glad to see that it's finally being done. So I'm in favor of this, and I encourage everyone to vote for it. It was pointed out to me that it does not require a 9/10 majority on this article. Oh, wrong article?
Oh, hold on.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
It's not on.
Must be off.
There you go.
Go ahead.
It's
on.
on? Okay. I'm Richard Chartier, 711 Ballinville Road, Ballinville. I was just wondering about 2 School Street. Could the fire department and the police department be in there together?
Chief, do you want to answer that?
I would have to say that that's been explored when the fire department went in that years ago, and it's not large enough to house both. Also, the radio communications in Baldenville Center, as anybody knows, that goes in there with a cell phone, tries to get internet, it dies right out. Radio communications would be, I can't even picture going there.
So it's like Verizon? Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now?
Is there any further discussion or questions? Okay, this article also needs to pass by a 2/3 vote. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Pass unanimously at 8:37.
We are not in recess. Article 3.
Mr. Moderator. Where's my Article 3? Oh. I move that the town appropriate $135.37 from the FY16 tax levy and $897.20 from sewer department revenues to pay bills remaining from fiscal 2015. Second. Thank you.
Okay, Article 3 has been read, seconded. I have it in writing. Advisory Board?
By unanimous vote, the advisory board recommends a yes vote on Article 3.
Mr. Moderator.
Thank you. Further discussion? Go ahead.
Bob Markle. I live at 197 8th Street in Charlestown, Massachusetts. Interim Town Administrator. These are two bills that arrived late. The bill from W.B. Mason was incurred by the Selectman's Office. It was sent to the wrong address, and I guess part of that confusion was that the town relocated its offices. The other bill also arrived late to the sewer department. The first bill would be paid out of tax revenue. The second bill would be paid out of the sewer department's revenues. A 9/10 majority is required.
Thank you. Further discussion? Okay, further discussion? Seeing none, we're going to vote on Article 3. All in favor of Article 3 signify by saying aye. Aye. And opposed? Article 3 passed at 8:35 p.m. Unanimously, I'm sorry. Article 4.
Mr. Moderator, I move to transfer funds within the fiscal 2016 annual operating budget as follows. From account 1000-951-900-53-5305-0000, the triennial reevaluation, the amount of $5,000, to account 1000141-10051-5110-0000, the Deputy Assessor's Office salary. Account 9210-200-00-00-2300-0020, Planning Reserve Detention Ponds, the amount of $16,000 to account 1...
If I can interrupt you.
Yes?
The numbers in front of you are all correct. There's no misprint. I'm asking you a question.
Oh, as far as I know, yes.
Okay. Can we stipulate to the numbers printed in front of us? We don't need to hear 000-000500.
So you just want the amounts and the accounts?
If you could just narrow that down a little bit, that's what I'm asking you. There is a misprint in another article, we're going to get to that. This is printed properly, all the numbers in front of you, accurate? Okay.
as printed in the warrant.
One second.
Or
Yep.
move as
Just,
printed as shown on the screen.
right.
Shown on the screen. All right,
Whichever is correct.
okay.
Just looking at the interest of time, that's all, instead of hearing 000 all over the place.
Yep, okay. Right, so are the numbers on the screen the correct numbers then?
Okay.
So the
It's
screen-
correct on the screen, but it's not correct on the print.
Okay. All right. All right, so I will start over if that's okay. Mr. Moderator, I move to transfer funds within the fiscal 2016 annual operating budget as shown on the screen.
Okay. To clarify, the numbers on the screen are correct.
This one right here, this is fire, and then salary, it's up on there, but it's not here. So it's, the number is correct up there. 1,000, 200, 51-5117.
And that's the only one that we corrected.
Yes, everything else was correct. Okay? Yes, and the title, yeah, and the title, this is fire and salary. Okay.
I believe, right? You read it off?
Right, so the numbers on the screen were correct.
That's not the correction,
There is some confusion on the motion. If we can just clarify it, please. Information on the screen is correct.
Yes.
Okay. I believe there is only one change with regards to the printout that everybody has in front of them. If you could just briefly go over what is here and just give me the correction.
I do not.
It's on the
Can you
screen.
hear me? Yes. Good. So the only change from what you have here is here. This account number is different, and the name of this is different. That's it.
What is it?
It says fire EMS salary, and the last 51-5117-000 is different than what you have on your paper. Up here.
On the screen is correct. The printout in front of you is not correct. I do. Yep. It's in writing. Okay on a motion? Okay, is that it on your motion? Mr. Selectman?
Are you done with the motion? Yes.
Are we all good over there on the motion? Okay, do I have a second? Okay. Advisory Board.
Mr. Moderator,
Yes.
the advisory board would like to take and end up making a substitute motion that each of these gets voted individually.
Do you have that in writing?
Advisory Board, I'm going to need that in writing, please.
Pardon me, I didn't hear what you said.
I'm going to need that in writing. Your motion in writing, please.
So now I have to vote to accept the substitution.
Thank you.
Did I do that?
Just to clarify, a subsequent motion has been made by the advisory board. The subsequent motion is to vote on each item. If you could go back to the first one, please. I believe there are 6 total. To vote on each of those separately. This is open for discussion before we vote on the subsequent motion. I know you've been standing there. Do you have any questions or discussion about the subsequent motion? Okay,
Mr. Moderator,
go ahead.
I don't see the necessity of doing this. We're talking about 4 relatively small transfers.
That's why we're here to vote. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none.
Well, that's his problem.
Right, you never said, he never said why.
Yeah, he never said why.
Right, exactly. Okay, just so we're clear, subsequent motion on the floor, and I have a second. Do I have a second? Thank you. Subsequent motion, which has been submitted in writing, is to vote on each item separately. This requires a majority vote. All in favor of the subsequent motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? No. Okay, the subsequent motion did not pass at 8:48 p.m. Okay, we are back to the original motion on the floor. It's here before you on the screen. We've addressed the one change on the bottom with regards to the account number and salary compared to what you have in writing from out there.
Mr. Moderator,
We have, it's been,
from the advisory board, because there's an additional item on there other than Freetown, I would like to take and end up polling our membership and giving you our recommendation after I polled the board.
No.
Mr. Moderator.
did you have a posted meeting?
Yes.
They can't
It doesn't
We
have
have
to
a
be-
microphone for a reason. Stop.
Mr. Moderator, it doesn't have to be posted. We've done this in the past at this town meeting.
Stand by, we're looking into it. I'm sorry. Advisory Board, we are going to get back to you in just 1 minute. We're trying to get some clarification on that. In the meanwhile, I'm going to open it up to further discussion.
Thank you. Mr. Moderator, I'm Elizabeth Toth at 141 Gray Road.
Thank you.
I have a question concerning the fire EMS salary, and why are we moving $111,000 away from something that's safety-related into snow and ice? So what I'd like to know is from the fire chief, if he's present,
He is?
how does this affect the possible ALS? And how does this affect his department if we actually move the funds?
Chief, if you could grab a microphone and maybe, well, she's addressing it to the chief.
I would like the fire chief, please.
Hello, Chief Laporte. The ALS will not be impacted. In fact, we had a meeting with OEMS on Tuesday, and we've got our final approval pending a couple of Ts and Is crossed and dotted to go to ALS at this time. The $111,000, as it was explained to me, is a duplicate appropriation that was made in error and part of the accounting challenges they've been facing, and this does not affect me at all.
Thank you.
Mr. Moderator.
Yes, go ahead.
I'd like to explain the reason for the transfers and also to provide the town meeting with an update on our financial circumstances. First of all, none of these transfers will affect the tax rate. The adopted budget for 2016 is already in effect. These are simply transfers within the 2016 budget. The first item, the Board of Assessors are requesting a transfer of $5,000 to augment the salary of the Deputy Assessor. The Deputy Assessor is one of the key financial officials of the town. And as compared with the other key officials, the town accountant, treasurer collector, the deputy assessor is rather drastically underpaid. And so the assessors are requesting this transfer in order to increase the salary of the deputy assessor commensurate with the other key financial officials of the town. Number two, and this gets us to one of the important matters that we face. We do not have audited records for fiscal 2013, 14, or 15. I contracted with an auditing firm to come and do those audits. They are still under contract. They came to the town in the late spring and said, we cannot audit your records because they are in disarray. You must go back and put your cash book together and put your general ledger in order before we can conduct the audits. This is not news, I'm sure, to everyone. We've had a period of financial chaos, largely because we've had turnover in the office, and in a number of instances didn't even have officials to do the work. And in some cases, obviously, the work was not done effectively. The Department of Revenue has said that they simply will not certify our free cash until we provide them with accurate data, professionally audited, for 2013, 14, and 15. We did extend the hours of our town accountant, as you recall, in the spring, in the hope that she could not only do her regular job, but also put these records in order. This is an enormous undertaking for 3 years. In fact, she came to me today and reported that fiscal 15 has been done, and that there were more than 5,000 expenditure transactions that had to be checked out. This is only on the expenditure side. There are lots of revenue transactions, and then again, we have the cash transactions that have to be checked with our bank statements. So one fiscal year takes an enormous amount of time, and frankly, the Department of Revenue representative from Springfield paid a visit in mid-month, in October, and reviewed our progress. I had 3 calls from them, all saying that they thought that the town's financial house was in order for the current year and for fiscal 15, but that we really need to deal with the problems we had in 13 and 14 and get that work done. They said to me, you need to bring in outside support for the accountant, and that's going to cost you some money. I said, we'll do the best that we can, and I will try and transfer some money that I know is available in the budget. And frankly, we did a conservative budget. I know there's some funds here and there that we can transfer if we need them. and so that was my response, that we'll make transfers at the town meeting that will enable us to bring in the outside support for the town accountant so we can get our records in order. I got a call back from the Boston office saying, all well and good, but you need more money than you are planning to transfer, and you are putting the town's free cash in jeopardy if you do not get the work done sooner rather than later. In other words, they were saying that 2013 is now in the 4th fiscal year behind us, and that we must get this work done or they won't certify free cash for 13 and 14. I said, please put that in writing. I said, I have to convince the town meeting that we're doing the right thing. And they said, no, we're not in that business. Typical bureaucratic response. I'll tell you on the phone what you need to do, but I won't put it in writing. So then I was unhappy, and I said, we need to appeal this to the Boston office. And Springfield representative said, yes, I'll make the call to Boston. I received a call on Friday from the Boston office, and this is the new Director of Accounts, and she said to me that she isn't sure that they're going to be able to do it, but they would take the matter to the Director of the Department of Revenue. To my surprise, they did that, and the Director of the Department of Revenue has sent a letter basically confirming what I'm telling you tonight. I'll put it up on the screen shortly, saying that we need to appropriate funds in order to get our records in good order so that they can be audited and so that the other problems that we face will be on the way to being resolved. And so what you'll see here are 3 transfers into the accountant's expense budget that would transfer a total of $65,000 to bring in outside consultants, this is CPA people, in order to get the work done. I've spoken with several candidates to do the work. They both turned me down. Finally, right before last weekend, I've contacted a very reputable firm, and they've agreed to do it if we can transfer the money. So those 3 items to the town accountant expense budget, and then lastly, a transfer from the fire EMS expense to cover our snow and ice deficit. Let me, at this point, go through quickly where we are with the town's financial situation. Here's the letter from the Department of Revenue. It's fairly strong, and basically they're saying that we're putting our certification of free cash in jeopardy unless we can put those old records in good order so that they can be audited by the professional auditing firm and then present those to the Department of Revenue. I'd be glad to share the letter with any of you later if you'd like. I'll send you a paper copy if you'd like to see it or email. Here's where we are financially in the town. We finished fiscal 2015, closed the books on July 15th, and pleased to say we closed with a small, modest surplus. So we were in the black. In fiscal 16, our budget is balanced. We have not used any free cash, and we have not used any stabilization funds. We have not added new positions, but we have fully staffed, and we began this process towards the end of 2015. We have fully staffed those departments that were funded. 5 department heads have been replaced since the spring of 2014. A number of them left because they had better salary offers from other communities. The services that were curtailed during the financial crisis in 2014 have been restored. The tax rate in fiscal 16, which we will set in December, the selectmen will set the tax rate. We anticipate that it's going to be in the range of something less than 20 cents. That'll be the lowest increase in the tax rate in a number of years. Last year, the tax rate went up 40 cents. The year before, it went up $2.12. So in terms of what you've just voted in terms of the debt exclusion, the burden from the regular tax increase will help make that a bit more palatable for you. The town is experiencing moderate growth now. We had $99,000 in new growth certified